Hi, I'm Tim. Please join me in this video as we take a look at the Goosky UH-1Y Huey helicopter. We'll do an unboxing overview and take it for a few test flights. Let's get to it. So you saw this fly earlier in the video. This is the Goosky UH-1Y Venom. It's an upgraded Huey built for the U.S. Marine Corps. About 160 were built. Very nice kit from the people at Goosky. It's an intelligent Huey. It flies by GPS, so it'll actually hover on its own with a good GPS lock. Looks like a good plane for beginners, and I'll just say, looking at it, it's an extremely solid model. It just feels good. And as you'll see, once we go through it, the only thing you really need to do to get it to fly is install the 4 rotor blades, screw on the tail blade, charge the batteries, and go fly. So again, a very nice, ready-to-fly helicopter with battery. The weight is 1.2 pounds. It's a little bit bigger than your normal helicopter, but it flies nice. And let's do an unboxing now. As a reminder, there are chapters of the timeline below. There's also a purchase link in the description if you'd like to buy your own UH-1Y. Let's take a moment to go over the box that the E2 UH-1Y comes in. It's a pretty elaborate box. I like to look at the box, just an initial impression of the aircraft. Very high quality, good pictures. And notice as things, a vision-based positioning system. It uses an optical system, a LiDAR, which is a light detection and ranging system, to determine altitude above the ground to help with its auto-land capabilities. Notice it's also a GPS version. This uses GPS for vertical hover. I believe this is a carryover from the drone folks who use GPS all the time for their drones. This is tied into here. It apparently has an ability to return to its takeoff place back on GPS information. So the other stuff along here, specifications are along here for the helicopter. One thing to keep in mind, the flying weight is 438 grams. That's 1.2 pounds. That's a pretty heavy helicopter for this type of thing. It has a 3-cell lipo battery. Again, that's a pretty big battery, so that contributes to all that, everything that's needed for that. So again, good box, good amount of information, and it looks like a pretty substantial effort here. So now let's take a look at what's inside here. This is what came inside the box. I've never really seen anything like that. You have the Goosky logo here, a very solid foam container. There's a little handle here and 2 latches. So let's unlatch it. And when we open it up, here is a very intelligent, thought-out packaging system. Maybe somebody somewhere moves this along, carries it with them, but you have to detach the 4 rotor blades. I don't know. So this is how it comes. It's good. So let's take a look at everything inside here. First of all, we'll pull out the very complete 2.4 gigahertz transmitter. So more on this later with various switches. It's tied to the helicopter, how you do it. What I like to do is at the end, of course, you're going to put in your batteries. I'll put a little name on here so I know which helicopter is for. You get a lot of these transmitters. Sometimes you can mix them up a little bit. Here is the helicopter itself. Very substantial helicopter, solid, good decoration. You see with the UH-1Y, the upgrade, the twin exhaust is very distinctive for the 2 engines that are in this upgraded version for the Marine Corps, and a 4 rotor system. Again, we're going to have to connect the rotor blades to each one of these and the tail rotor here, the separate brushless motor for the tail rotor. And again, underneath here, you can see the LiDAR system for determining altitude above the ground. Just a very solid presentation. Also, one other thing, you squeeze this in. This is where the battery goes. Again, very well thought out with a 3-cell battery, and you connect it right on there. So that's just something in the directions, and it clicks right on like that. This version comes with 2 batteries when you order it and by the way, this is given to me by the folks at Banggood for review, so thank you for that. These are the 2 3-cell batteries. And there is also a charger included with this, okay? So with this size battery, 16 milliamp 3-cell, I'm just going to use my regular charger. I'm sure you have a regular charger that's probably going to do a better job balancing everything. The connector's in place, so your option how you might want to charge that up. Continue with the unbox. We have the 4 blades that we're going to have to attach. This is the tail rotor and the nuts and bolts and washers to attach that. These are super important, so when you're using that, make sure that you're on a surface and not going to fall away. You don't have a spare for this probably in your kit box if you lose one of those key bolts. These are some more additions. I think this is part of the 23 millimeter machine gun. Some small screws to put that on. This will be optional. This is the other little thing with the directions. This is instructions about how to screw on the 4 rotor blades, how to do that. Again, this comes on the inside of the box. Here are screwdrivers and other things to help assemble the helicopter, the blades primarily. And this is just a little handout for the charger if you wish to use that included charger. That is everything in the box. Let's take a quick look, discuss what they call the quick start guide. This is what you're going to get for an operating manual on it. It's really a pretty good manual. if it's got color in there, that's a good start for me. They care about it, a good paper. We'll take some more detailed picture views as a transmitter, what the various switches do. The flight modes are important. There's a lot of automated flight modes, the GPS manual, and so forth. So let's take a little bit closer look at the details of this instruction manual now. We can take a little closer look at the Quick Start Guide, essentially your instruction manual for this helicopter. It's a good manual. I like the color illustrations, good description of the lights. There's a lot of buttons on the transmitter. There's a lot of information from the lights on the status of the GPS, low battery warning, and so forth. Again, more stuff on how to start it up, what the various switches do, the default start positions, and a good snapshot of the flight demo, standard for all helicopters, what the left and right sticks do. This is a separate guide that tells you how to put on the blades. Again, it's a detailed picture. Just follow that. See what I do in the video, and you should be able to install the blades, no problem. The Huey was originally designed for the U.S. Army in the late 1950s. It was a very successful utility helicopter used for a wide range of roles. Over 16,000 were built for all 4 U.S. services, many international customers, to include the Marine Corps. The Marines got permission to upgrade their Hueys as they added more capability, more armament, more electronic warfare, and so forth. It just didn't have the performance they need. So what the Marines did to make this the UH-1Y variant, they put in 2 engines, more powerful engines, glass cockpit, and some other refinements, just enable it to fly higher, faster, and carry more weight. The Marines produced about 160 of these upgraded Hueys, and they're still being used today. Here's another view of what came in the box. You've got the 2 flight batteries, the single cell for the transmitter. Here is the helicopter with the tail rotor installed, the 4 main blades yet to be installed. Just a simple screw with that red collar washer holds on the tail rotor. Make sure that screw is on there tight. Those are the 4 very carefully designed rotor blades and the equipment, the washers, bolts, nuts to put those on. Be careful not to lose those. And again, the directions that show how to put the washers top and bottom, the bolt and the nut to keep everything in place. Now the other thing is the assembly of the tail and main rotor. So if you look at the tail rotor here, this follows the directions very well. It's just a single bolt. This top washer here, there's a cone-shaped washer. It just screws on, and there's a little brushless motor right there that is a tail motor, so no issue with that. Where there's a little bit of a challenge is putting on these main blades. As I discussed, or we will discuss, there are 4 blades as part of the engine upgrade of this helicopter, and you've got to install them. The directions are pretty clear here. What you do is you take a blade, and there's a washer that goes on top here, another one on bottom. You put it into the slot, a screw goes through it, and then you put on the nut. The problem is it's a very precision, tight fit to go into these two areas right here. So what I had to do to get this to work is we'll put the washers here on either side of the blade, and then to slide it in, I have to take these needle nose pliers, grip this very firmly in the back, and by holding that in place, I can push that in. It's a fairly tight fit to the holes line up, and then we put in the bolt and the nut on it, and that'll hold everything in. But there's no way to slide this in with the washers; they just come off. And then the directions finally say, when assembling the main blades, do not tighten the screws too much. The blade should be able to fold by hand with a slight damping feeling. I think what this means is they don't want to be rigid, so as the centrifugal force goes with the blades, they can go out to wherever they should be. I think this is about right. There's a little bit of resistance just by tightening that. And the other use of the pliers are with these very small nuts here. You have to hold them in place very tightly as you use a supplied screwdriver to screw everything in place. So I just wanted to pass that on. Every other helicopter I've had, these smaller ones, the blades are installed in the factory. Here you have to do it on your own. So the kit comes, at least my kit came with two of these 3-cell lipos. I use my normal charger. It has XT30 connectors. You might have to make an adapter for that, but I use a regular charger for this. A little bit different with the transmitter. In the back, they have a single cell lipo battery, 3.7 volts. The lipo is important because you can recharge the battery in the transmitter. It's super important when they ship this for safety reasons. The battery is covered with this plastic right here. In other words, it won't work because the contacts at both ends are covered by the plastic. You've got to remove the battery, remove the plastic, and then the battery will be in place to work. And this is just the normal cover. You can recharge it in the transmitter. You take the cord, you simply plug it in to the top, a USB to any powered USB, and you see the lights come on, the 3 lights indicating that the transmitter battery is charging through this port right here. So that's an unboxing assembly description of this Huey. It all looks good. Let's go ahead and take it out for some test flights. We'll see how to power it up and just fly the helicopter. We're going to give some test flights now to this wonderful UH-1Y helicopter. So here's a helicopter all assembled. The battery, the 3-cell lipo is in there fully charged. It's a friction fit. You just got to push it in as much as you can. The balancer is not used, and this will plug in the battery to the battery receptacle down there, and the nose will go on, but we have to plug it in. There's no on-off switch. You plug it in after you turn on the transmitter. Let's talk about the transmitter a little bit because it is a smart helicopter. There are some features covered in the quick start guide. First of all, this little switch on top is an off-go. The default position is off. The go is when it's flying at a GPS. You push it here, it'll fly back to its takeoff spot. So make sure that's off. This is a safety feature. It is locked and unlocked. So when we start it up, we'll put it in the lock position. That way the rotor won't work until everything is correct. This switch right here is a GVM. The default position is G, which is GPS. V is a visual mode. If you're flying without GPS inside a gym, you go there. Then the manual mode, they say be careful because there's no GPS stabilization. The helicopter will drift around. We will fly it in G because we're going to be outside. This switch is S plus, SN. I have no earthly idea what these mean. The instructions default position is in the S plus, so we're going to leave it there. To turn it on, you push both of these buttons at the same time, and you make sure that this is unlocked, and then you move both controls to the 5 and 7 o'clock position, and it will start up. It's interesting when it starts up, you'll see some adjustments of the rotors as it goes through a built-in check sequence of the computer. It's really quite amazing. And then the tail rotor will start going, the main rotor, and this has the helicopter go up and down. This will rotate the helicopter about its vertical axis, and these are lateral movements, left to right, forward, and aft. So that's that. So what we're going to do now, go outside so we can get the GPS signal, turn this on, plug in the battery, watch it acquire the GPS signal. This little light will be a steady green when it does that. Then we should be able to take it for a flight. Outside, to get the GPS signal, we turn on the transmitter, plug in the helicopter, which turns it on. It's facing towards me so it can connect with the transmitter, get the GPS signal, and then we'll go ahead and fly. Okay, so that is on. And we make sure that this is locked. We'll go ahead and plug this in. And it's looking for the GPS signal. See the test of the blades here? It's doing it on itself. It's all internal to the computer. We put the nose on, just a friction fit. And so we're looking for a steady green there. It should happen pretty soon. So as you can see, the E2 UH-1Y is a remarkable flyer. It truly is an intelligent helicopter. On the first flights, I could literally take my hands off the transmitter and it just maintained a stable hover through that GPS system. So ensure you get a green light here if you're doing that. I've never flown it indoors, I don't know, but outside of GPS, it's just absolutely remarkable. It is just as sure as can be, solid build, just a very pleasant, positive flying experience. I really can't say enough good things about it. And oh, by the way, with this 3-cell battery, 1600 milliamps, the company claims 15 minutes of flight time. I can believe that. This is a lot of power for a helicopter like this. So again, good luck with yours. I am very impressed with this helicopter.